The difference between you being able to afford or not afford a home is not going to be the Starbucks coffee that you buy once or twice per week. And it drives me crazy when boomers start talking about, oh, you just need to stop drinking so much coffee and then one day you'll be able to afford that home. That is not the difference maker. I'm going to make a prediction. 10 years from now, there are going to be two groups of people. The first is going to say, I wish I bought a home when I was younger and I wish I bought a home when I did. And the second group of people is going to say, I'm so glad I found a way to make it happen when I was younger, because now home prices are worse than ever. And we are seeing this issue right now. People who are in their 30s and 40s that are working extremely hard, not doing anything crazy, they're budgeting, they're doing the smart thing and saving away money, are still getting locked out of the housing market. They're still experiencing the headwinds and pains of not being able to purchase their first home. And as a result, the average age of a first-time home buyer in the United States is now aged 40 years old, which means that for people who are graduating college, they would have still another 20 years to go before they purchase their first home. This is a problem, and today we're going to break down exactly how to solve it and how you can better position yourself to buy a home earlier in life so that you can do the things you've always wanted to with your family. My name is Jonathan Hahn. I'm the head of portfolio management here at North Star Capital, and my wife and I paid off over $200,000 in debt in just a year and a half. And we're now here, and we've made our life's mission to help other people do the exact same thing, whether it's purchasing that first-time home or breaking down the crisis with student debt right now, also another big one in the United States. We are going to be breaking down today the home affordability crisis and how you can better position yourself to purchase that first home. Without further ado, let's break it down. Working in wealth management and as a financial advisor for a lot of young people, I almost see this question once a week, if not maybe more, especially recently. Jonathan, are we screwed? And honestly, I can understand how you feel that way. People are making good money and they're still asking me this question. They're making $80,000 a year, $150,000 a year, even $250,000, $300,000, yet they still feel like buying a home is further away than ever before. And honestly, they're not imagining it, and you guys aren't either, right? Homes are expensive, interest rates are high, so the cost to borrow is high and the overall prices of homes are high. That is a double whammy, and property taxes aren't getting any cheaper either. Meanwhile, you have your groceries, you have your daycare if you have children, right? And then just about everything else costs more than it did a few years ago. Not by a little bit, but probably around 30% more than it did just 5 years ago. And that's really, really tough, especially for young people. So today, I don't want to give you another generic budgeting lecture about how boomers are telling you to stop drinking coffee and to stop going out so much. I want to explain actually why this is happening, why it actually matters for us young people, and how people are still buying homes every single day just by creating a few different changes in their life and changing a few things and using strategies that I want you guys to think about implementing so you can get to that first home purchase. So let's rewind a little bit. Homes feel out of reach. 20 years ago, the biggest challenge wasn't even the pricing of homes. They're actually relatively affordable compared to the average income in the United States. It was actually qualifying for a mortgage. And today, that's not the case. The biggest challenge today is actually saving enough money before you even apply for a mortgage. And here's why. Imagine a $500,000 home. 5% down, that's about $25,000 if you're using something like conventional loan with 5% down, or you're even using the FHA program. But then you have your closing costs, right? That's another $10,000 to $15,000, whether you're paying your real estate agent or a loan origination fee. And then you have your moving expenses. You have furniture, emergency repairs, all this before you even get the keys to your brand new or used home. You could easily need another $40,000. Now imagine you're paying $2,200 every single month for rent while trying to save all that money for a home. That's why people feel stuck. It's not some kind of game. This is just pure math. And it's not because they're lazy, because us people, 20, 30, 40 years old, we're working extremely, extremely hard. It is purely because we are all trying to climb a ladder that's getting taller every single year faster than we can adjust. This is where social media gives horrible advice, in my opinion. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you'll hear people talking about, hey, stop eating out so much, or stop buying coffee, cancel your Netflix, Starbucks, Dunkin', no more, stop doing that. And look, I get it, could those things help a little bit? Sure, but that's not why you're not going to be able to afford a home. That's not going to be the make or break difference between a Starbucks coffee or purchasing your first home, right? That makes no sense whatsoever. And I hate when boomers tell us, oh, you have to stop buying your coffees. Like, that's not going to be the make or break difference. If you're spending $6 3 times a week on coffee, $900 a year, right? It's a little bit helpful, but that's not going to be the make or break. So the bigger issue is your income. It may sound obvious, but that's the number one. Number 2 is housing costs, and the number 3 being debt. But all these things have one thing in common. They require a plan that is deliberate. The biggest mistake I see people, make is not spending too much. It's nothing to do with spending. It's people saving without a destination. And so people will then say, I'm trying to save money. Great, how much? By when? Where's the money going? Is it invested? Is it sitting in a checking account? And when I ask that question, people don't really know. They just know that they can't hit that target. And it's a target that doesn't exist because you don't have a plan. So this is the framework that I've used and that I give clients, and maybe you guys should think about this too, right? Step 1 is figure out exactly what home you want. So instead of just saying, oh, the homes are unaffordable, which homes? It's not going to be your dream home. It's going to be your first home. Let's say it's about $450,000. We're going to work backward here a little bit. So we have your down payment, your closing costs, your moving expenses, and your emergency fund after the closing. Let's say your target is about $40,000 just for that initial lump sum payment to secure the home with everything encompassed around it. So instead of saying, I need 40 grand, you're going to ask yourself, how do I save $40,000 over the next 3 years? Whether it's just you or you and your partner, your spouse, how can you save $40,000 over the next 3 years? Well, now we get into the monthly math. We get into how much you need to save per month. And believe it or not, it's only about $1,100. So if you can't save $1,100 per month, can you increase your income through a part-time job or a side hustle? Can you reduce maybe one large expense that can be lowered a little bit? Maybe take on some consulting work, split rent with a roommate, move home for 12 months if you really need to. Be creative. Those decisions are going to move the needle far more than cutting out a damn Dunkin' Donuts order. Trust me on that. So the next part of this is to keep the money separate. This is not going to be some kind of fund that is commingled with your normal finances. This is a separate fund that you're not going to mix with vacation money. You're not going to mix it with your auto loan. You're not going to mix it with anything else, and you're not going to dig into it. Give every single dollar a purpose and have those dollars that go into the home fund never come out until you're ready to purchase that first home. The last part of this is something I hear almost every day when it comes to the overall housing market. And this is something I touched on a little bit earlier, which is I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. Maybe they will a little bit, but maybe they won't. And here's what most people forget is that if rates fall, more buyers are going to enter the market. Demand is going to increase and home prices often rise as interest rates come down. So now you're competing against everybody else who had that same thought, that same train of thought that you did, who was waiting around, waiting for interest rates to come down. So instead of trying to time the market perfectly, which you likely won't, there is a very, very low chance of that happening, focus on you yourself becoming financially ready. Strong credit, strong income, not taking out debt on things that you don't need to be taking debt out on, saving your cash as much as you can. Those are the things you can control. You can't control the overall housing market, but what you can control is your personal finances and being an advocate for being the best financial version of yourself. So I know this all feels overwhelming, and it should. I totally understand that. Buying a car, buying an engagement ring, those are big decisions, right? But a home is probably the biggest financial decision you will ever make. And here's what I've learned after helping people build wealth for a number of years now. Very few people will wake up one morning magically ready. They build towards this deliberately over years, month over month, year over year. The people who eventually buy are not necessarily the highest earners. I know some people that are in a better financial position making $80,000 a year than other people that are making $250,000 a year. These people that are in the best financial position are people who made a plan early on and they stuck with it. And if you're watching this today, start there. Stop scrolling on Zillow, looking at these $10 million homes, putting your head through a wall. Stop looking at interest rates and complaining about the overall housing market being expensive because you can't afford the interest on a loan right now. Start just with a plan. Take out the Notes app on your iPhone or take a piece of paper and start writing down ideal scenarios that are realistic for the next 3 to 5 years of your life. And I promise you, it is going to be life-changing. If you guys found this helpful, subscribe. I know there's not a lot of content out there for young people, and I really want to help you guys out. Every week I'll be breaking down money moves, master money moves, investing, home buying, retirement, taxes, student loans, and the financial decisions for us young people that actually matter. So if there's a topic you guys would like to see me cover within the next few weeks or even months, leave it in the comments. I'd love to address it, and maybe I'll even make a video about it one day. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.